I'll give you a funny Fat Perez story. A bunch of us are on our friend's boat, and we're all drinking, having a good time. Girl's sitting there, and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm in the golf world. She goes, are you Fat Perez? And I go, God damn.
Interview prep, baby.
Pass the torch, man. Keeps getting better. Thank you guys for joining today. We have the two guys, superstars from the SubPar podcast, Colt Knost, Drew Stoltz, better known as the Sleaze and the Big Gravy.
That's right.
How we doing, boys? Welcome to Tahoe.
Welcome to you. It's the first time, I think, coming here. This place, as you'll see, it doesn't take long to figure out, but this is a hell of a week, and good to be back with you since the U.S. Open a couple years ago. Appreciate you having us, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. This is my first time as well. I'm excited to be here. This place is sick.
So I actually did some interviews last year, but the rest of my squad, first time out here. So we're here with Joe Paz, right? So he's played in this thing 7 years. Came in second place last year, lost to Romo in a playoff.
Yeah.
So he's coming for that blood this year.
My Dallas Star, man.
Yeah.
Huge Stars fan. Love Joe Pavelski.
8-1 for all of you betting people out there.
Yeah,
let's
pull the first thing we're going to do on today's podcast. We're looking at the odds right now for everyone listening at home. We're looking at the odds of the celebrities this week. There's I think Romo is the best odds, right, on that sheet?
5-2.
5-2.
5-2. And then Joe Pavelski, our guy, has the highest odds out of any current athlete, I believe. So he's a good pick. Like I said, second place last year. But you guys looking at that board, give me a winner.
Well,
Here
I'm
we
going to
go.
be a little biased right now.
Do it.
You have to
Pump
be,
your
Because
guy.
I just committed to being on the bag for Alex Killorn, who I know is going to be a guest of yours soon. He's 22-1. It's his first time, but the guy can play. I think he got a one handicap out there today, and I think I can help him on the greens. I like the value at 22-1. You know, everyone's going to load up on Romo and Marty Fish, but man, I like my guy.
I like that. Sleaze, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, like he said, it's like three guys at the top are the ones that seem to do it all the time. Tony Romo, Marty Fish, Mark Mulder. He's won it 3 times. I tell you what doesn't get enough attention is Annika Sorenstam. Who's actually, I don't know if you've heard, pretty good little golfer. Yeah, just the greatest woman of all time. She goes at 8-1. And last year, like talking with people, they're like, oh, I think they were interviewing her, like, I haven't played much golf. I haven't been doing much. This year, she just played the U.S. Open. I know she shot a lot, but it's like, all right, so maybe she's knocking the rust off at the U.S. Open. I mean, this place will be nothing compared to Pebble Beach. Like,
I will say
it's not long. I think she could.
But is it a tough course? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's very short.
It's short.
It's very short. It's tight. But for her, with it being Stableford, you get so many points for an eagle. So if you can take advantage of the par fives, you can kill it. And I mean, Mulder, Marty Fish, and Romo, they're going to be hitting short irons in these par fives, where she's probably hitting fairway wood, hoping just to make birdie, where they're looking at making eagles.
I'll tell you a name to watch out for on that list. I think he led after day one last year. We had him on the podcast last year out here. Adam Thielen.
Say no more.
Stud golfer.
Biggest fans in the world. Our little brother. A lot of people say, we come from the same lineage. We love Adam. His golf. I've said this before. I think about Adam. I was like, all right, you talk about your boy being a current athlete. Adam's a current athlete. When Adam retires, if he gives a shit, and if he falls in love with golf like all these dudes do, going forward, he could be. Do you think he could be the best at the foundation that he has right now? Like, he hits it hard.
If he wasn't such an asshole.
Looks good.
Has he been on SubPar before?
We've had him. We never met him before, and Larry Fitzgerald asked us to come out and play with him at Whisper Rock one day, and we played. And this dude swings at 130 miles an hour, and he's the nicest guy on the planet.
The man.
We're like, would you come on SubPar? We did, and now I have so many friends. That's their man crush now. They love Adam Thielen.
So
that's easy to believe. I mean, yeah. If you don't love him, then that's on you.
Talking about getting dialed into golf for him, though. So he just got moved. He signed with the Carolina Panthers. Out of Minnesota, there's got to be some better golf courses down the Charlotte area than up in Minnesota, you got to imagine.
He joined a place called Longview, which is really good. It's a hidden gym. Okay. And then, obviously, Quail Hollow's the spot there in Charlotte. He's talking about there. I told him, the owner there, Johnny Harris, he said if Adam wins a few games, we might talk about letting him in. So it all depends on that record this year for Thielen.
I love it. And last thing on Tahoe here, because then I want to dive into your relationship and what you've built in the media side. But, Drew, you've been here. What's your favorite part about the tournament out here in the ACC?
I think it's not necessarily about the tournament itself, but just the vibe. Like, you come over here at night across the street, right, and you're going to run into every guy that's in the tournament, at least every guy that leaves their hotel room, right, and wants to go over there and gamble. And you see these guys, and they kind of all have their hair down. Like, none of these people are golfers. This is their vacation, more or less. And you get to see, I feel like, more of who they actually are than maybe the interviews you see on ESPN or whatever, right, where they're talking shop or talking about their team or their upcoming season. It's like they get asked about golf this week, and you kind of see who they are just as a person. You get to see them in like, I mean, they're all right here, dude. You know what I mean? They're all in the same little room at night, and it's just cool to interact with a lot of the guys that maybe you haven't before.
Right, and you hear a lot of the athletes talk about Steph Curry, Joe Pavelski. This is their favorite week of the year.
Yeah.
Disregard their whole sports season. This is the favorite week of their year. So these guys love golf. Should be a good tournament.
They do, and they take it serious. Like, I was shocked today being there for the first time, like guys that played in the morning pro-am that go out on the range and actually are practicing afterwards. I mean, like, Canelo is full-blown obsessed with the game of golf. This dude works out 5 hours a day, then spends minimum 5 hours a day on the golf course. You know, working, has a swing coach here. Steph Curry flew his swing coach in from Dubai. I mean, he's
It's
committed.
commitment.
He's
Tour
recently-
pros that don't even bring their local guy. Like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't need you this week. He's flying his dude in from Dubai.
Yeah.
And there's also, like, would you agree with this? Well, I guess it's your first time here, but there's kind of like 2 tournaments, essentially, like guys that take it real serious and like they're on the range after and they're locked in and they maybe get in bed a little bit earlier. And then there's guys like, I ain't winning this thing. There's a few names that jump off the page here just from years past. Like, I'm here to have fun. I can shoot 100 a few days. Doesn't matter. And then they just kind of like let it rip.
Yeah, like Joe's caddy is our CEO, Matt Fornataro. He's dialing on the yardage book today and tomorrow. And so there's guys, probably a handful of guys that can win this thing, and there's guys just having fun.
Yeah.
Hype up the crowd.
Without
So-
question.
There's guys that have side bets with their boys that are also
Yeah.
shitty.
Yeah.
That's all they care about.
So talk about guys that are obsessed with golf, you guys. Sleeves, we've had you on before, so our audience knows a little bit about your background, your story. So quickly with you, Colt. So you obviously were a superstar amateur. You won the USAM. You played on the PGA Tour for several years. But when did you first really fall in love with the game of golf and really get that addiction?
Yeah, I didn't pick up a club till I was 12 years old, so I started pretty late. But, I mean, for me, when I was 12, I mean, that's when Tiger won the Masters in '97. And I watched that, and I absolutely fell in love, and I just absolutely committed everything to golf. I mean, obviously, I'm not built for much else, but I'm a sports guy. I played all the sports growing up. But I realized, like, golf's kind of a thing I could possibly do. And so I went all in. I quit everything else immediately and focused on golf. And, you know, I had no idea what was going to happen. I grew up in a real small town in Texas, didn't have a golf course. Our high school team was actually sneaky good for what we were. And then didn't get many college offers, went to SMU, still had no idea, no aspiration to turn in pro, and then just continued to get better and better and better, and realized my senior year, like, hey, I can do this. I'm one of the best AMs in the world, and decided to make a run at it. Pro golf wasn't what I wanted it to be, but, you know, to be out there as long as I was still really cool, and it led me to what I'm doing now, which, you know, I've never been happier, hanging out with this idiot, you know, pretty much nonstop. We're having a blast.
Yeah, I mean, you had a great career, and it's the hardest game in the world. But to your point, you then retired, I think it was 2020?
Phoenix Open 2020 was my last one.
And so was there this period of time where you were like, oh, shit, like, what is my next step in life? Or was it immediately like, I'm going to dive into media?
No, so I was injured. I had 2 different surgeries. So I was out, I believe, the 2017 season and 2019 season. So I was playing on a medical. And during those times while I was hurt, we started the SiriusXM show.
Yep.
I got a couple starts from CBS hired me, but I was on the Golf Channel. I think I did like 3 or 4 events and knew, like, you know, I liked it. It was really good. And when I was starting to get down to only a few starts left, CBS was kind of like, listen, we're interested. We think you could be really good at this. So once I didn't film what I needed to do for my medical, I had the option, like, do I go back to the Korn Ferry Tour or do I go this route? And I realized pretty quickly I could make more money sitting in my office with him 3 days a week talking on the radio than I could, you know, grinding it out on the Korn Ferry Tour at 35 years old.
Yep.
And it just seemed like way too much stress. I wanted to see where this could go. And, you know, I think this is what I was really meant to do. Professional golf led me to this.
Yeah, 100%. You're crushing it. And so your bromance started a few years ago. But what made you guys pick each other? I think maybe it was Colt coming to Drew first or what you saw in Colt. Like, give me something a little bit about each other that you loved, and then now you have this sweet bromance.
I have no idea his answer to this question.
Send a lot of compliments
Yeah,
my way.
I mean,
I'll return the ball.
I'll be honest. Like, mine was, I knew him when he played at TCU, but, like, we weren't that close, even though we were 45 minutes down the road. But it all started, like, at Whisper Rock when I joined there in 2014, I think. I realized really quickly, like, there's 2 guys that hold court on the range at Whisper Rock or in the grill, and it's me and him and McCord, but he's 100, so he doesn't count. but we just kind of talked, like, man, like, this could be something really good. And then when I got the call from Scott Greenstein at SiriusXM, I mean, him and I were so excited for it, and so it was kind of like that moment on the range one day. We were just absolutely owning everyone, and I was like, okay, this could be fun.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah, it was actually like it lined up like really coincidentally. Like Colt was like battling the injuries. It was like, okay, is he going to fulfill his medical? If he doesn't, what's he going to do? He's getting in the broadcast. Then he kind of, like, I would say, was the guy behind the radio, like show on PGA Tour
He was a
radio.
radio
Like
face.
he would kind of pursued it and like got a call. All right, exactly. And then he
I'm
asked
handsome
me,
from here up.
Yeah,
he's
you
like,
are.
"Yo,
You
do you
are.
want to do radio?" I was like, "Yes," because I was actually close a few years before doing one with McCord. And long story, it didn't happen. And so then I was doing other stuff for a number of years. And coincidentally, at the same time, like I was doing a little small podcast at the time, and I'd been talking to golf.com, like, do you want to come do a show with us? And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, cool, do you want to co-host? And it was like right around the same time, I was like, yeah, I think I'm doing a radio show with Colt. Like, let's just do it so it's like kind of all under the same brand or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
right? And it, like, timing-wise, lined up really coincidentally, like, right around the same time. And then from then, we've just been going.
But Drew, you avoided the question a little bit. What do you love about
Oh,
Colt
what do
as
I
a
love about
co-host?
Colt?
He
Dude,
said it. Nothing.
Yeah, I went on a little tangent there, but dude, I think what golf misses, like for a long time, golf was like stuffy, boring, you know the type, right? Goofy pants, fat ass, that type of stuff, right? And it's like he was on tour for a long time. I got buddies that are on tour. I know a bunch of these guys. I'm like, there's actually some cool fucking dudes out here, but like nobody knows it. If you just look at their Golf Channel interview, like why don't we have some people talking about golf or bringing this out of these guys that's not doing it, because nobody's doing it right now. And that's why like Colt knows all these guys. He's funny as shit. I think, you know, we have a good rap. We know that we can talk high. If you want to talk high level golf, like we'll sit here and do that with you all day. But if I think probably, at least speaking for me, like I prefer to like bullshit with guys and like get to know them. And like when I watch interviews, those are the ones that I like. I was like, let's bring that to golf, because really nobody at the time was doing that. And you know, I know Colt, like Colt's the same way. Like you play golf with him, like he's gonna throw shots and who can send it back and that type of stuff. I was like, this feels like it'll work.
I would say this, like we hate complimenting each other, but you know, our schedules we're very busy. So there's some days like on Sirius XM where we're not working together. We have someone fill in, and we have both come to realize it's a lot harder when one of us is gone. I mean, just like it's just so easy. Like we go in my office, sit there, and the 2 hours just flies by. Like it's honestly, you don't have to have anything written down on a piece of paper. You just go, and man, it's so much fun. Like people are like, why do you between CBS and the podcast, like why do you keep doing this? And I was like, honestly, because I love it and I have so much fun.
Yeah. So I don't have a co-host. I'm solo here.
Shout out. It's
But
not hard.
start the show.
Not easy.
Well, I was going to say sometimes it is easier because I know what direction the conversation's going, right? So, like, you could be going one tangent and then you take it the other way and you're kind of like, no, I wanted to stay there. Like, has there been any, like, fights? Like, maybe it's, like, post-production, like, Sleaze, what the fuck was that? Or, like, there's been no fights between you two?
No fights, but like
That was the same tone of
slapping.
no.
Yeah.
Like I would say, I mean, if we're just being honest, like, I mean, with me working with CBS, I have to be a little careful with everything
Sure.
goes on. So and he's as unfiltered as they get, and that's what makes him great. Like, I mean, that big ass head he's got is a beautiful mind, and it goes all kinds of different places.
Love you.
And sometimes we'll be going in a podcast. I'm like, nope, stop, cut. You cannot say that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
Yeah,
like,
I like to get like weird and do like weird shit. And I know Colt's like CBI. I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, you're not gonna jeopardize that. Of course not. Like, that'd be stupid. So I could feel like I kind of like in the accelerator, and then he'll bring it back. You know, but like he still goes. It's just like, it's not like you can't say shit or anything like that. It's just
there's certain things that come
you
out
can
of
say and can't
I'm just
say
like,
in media, or it's gonna be a problem.
But
and
definitely no fights or
So
anything.
little fights.
No, I think we
Little
just kind of
jabs.
like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll be asking questions and then it'll go a different place. Like, all right, whatever. You know, I mean, it's just like normal. Hopefully,
sure.
it's more like a conversation than like an interview where it's like, you know, oh, you steered it the wrong way. And we just, I think our rhythm now, after doing it for so long, is like we kind of know like he's gonna chime in now or he's gonna go this way or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel that. So I listen to your show. And it's that what I love about it is like it's like you're driving it home after you're around in a car ride and you guys have mics on yourselves and like you're talking about golf and like what just happened, but at like the highest level. So that's why I love it. And you talked a little about the show direction and trying to not make it this stuffy thing that the sport used to be. And you see a lot of different shows out there in media right now that are kind of taking over, like the Pat McAfee show. You got one of the greatest shows ever on television is the TNT with Charles Barkley.
My favorite question.
That is one of the best shows ever. Is that kind of the model that you guys are striving to be like?
So those are my two favorite by far. I mean, Pat has changed sports media. I mean, just with his unfiltered, you know, he's so entertaining. He gets guys to loosen up when they interview him, and that's one thing. Like we want when our guests come and sit down with us, like we want them to forget they have a microphone in front of them. It's just bullshitting, having a good time, whether you're having a cocktail or not. And then NBA on TNT. I mean, Charles Barkley's the greatest, and I mean, you know, Ernie. He's the captain
God
of that
bless
ship.
him.
He
God
somehow
bless-
keeps
God
it on
bless
the
him.
rails because
God bless Ernie.
it's. I mean, it cracks me up watching them because they'll be talking serious basketball and then they'll go off on this tangent, and it's great and it's hilarious. And then like Ernie's like, all right, let's get back to the highlight. Like, it's awesome. And I just think I'm not the biggest NBA guy, but I watch NBA on TNT every single night. I don't give a shit about the game. I want to see what Charles and Shaq have to say.
Yeah. And one of my other favorite parts about the show is like the actual genuine connection between you and your guests. So like Wyndham Clark, for example, like you're his father, and then you got John Rahm coming
Proud of
on
him.
like the few days after the Masters, and he's got the green jacket on for the first time in like a media interview setting on your show. So like that's why I love that part of your show. But how do you keep that kind of relationship with those guys? Because you do have this massive reach, you have this massive show, you're on CBS, and you guys are in the media per se. But how do you keep that kind of distance from being a traditional media guy versus their friend?
Yeah, I'll answer it like this. So I think, more and more like with podcasts and things, it becomes less about like the podcast, more like YouTube stuff and videos and their real life. And it's almost like a reality show, right? Like some of these people, it's like sun up to sundown, they're filming it. I get really cautious, just speaking for me. Like, we've had people come to us and say like, dude, next time you play with John, like film something in the cart or like show some shots and all this. I'm like, no, dude, like zero in stop. I'm not doing that. Like, these are my friends first, and I don't want them to feel like when I ask them to do something or like, yo, you want to come over? Do you want to play golf? That it's like, oh, this is all going on social. Like he's using me to get clicks or whatever. Like I'm very, very cautious about that, so I don't ever want to abuse that. And I think those guys know that. Like guys, I think the biggest compliment we can get is when buddies of ours come to us like, when are you going to have me back on the show, dude? You haven't asked me in forever. And we're like, dude, we try to be respectful of you to not abuse you and like say, come on every single week. Of course, we'd love to have John Rahm or Jordan Spieth or whoever, name it, every 2 weeks, right? But we don't. So I think you just try to toe that line between like, you're my boy first, but like, yeah, we also do the show. And like when you come on, hopefully that like friendship comes across.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very careful to cross the line. Like, in a day where everything's all about clicks, right? You want to get that got you moment and all that. And for us, it's like these guys, they get pulled in every which direction by the media. And for us, it's like I want them to enjoy coming on with us. And that's one thing they've always said to us, like, with y'all, it doesn't feel like we're doing an interview. It's just sitting down, having a good time. And then when I'm on the road with CBS, like I go to dinner with these guys still all the time. I mean, I just quit playing golf a couple years ago. So my best friends in the world are those guys I traveled with every week. So I still go to dinner. And I'm very careful about, like, okay, they said this. Can I use it on air? And I'm always make sure, like, hey, I ask before I say anything because there's some stuff said that, we're not going to do it. And I never want to break that trust because I think that's why they're so great to us is because they do trust us. And I'm the same way with that. Like, they've tried to get me to film all this stuff. And I'm like, man, like, I don't do it. I do it occasionally and just, like, little funny little quip videos here. But, like, man, they get cameras in their face at all times. Like, I want them to be relaxed and having fun.
The recipe has worked. I think you guys just crossed 10 million lifetime downloads.
Yeah,
that deserves a cheers.
Cheers.
Cool.
Yeah, man,
that's pretty cool.
Cheers, I appreciate
Hey,
it.
My man.
bring it
Thank
in.
you.
That's
Thank
something
you.
I think when we started, whenever it was, with John Rahm, I was like, I didn't think that would probably ever happen.
I remember we don't like track it. Like our producer will just send us the thing,
Yeah.
like he gets in the email or wherever it comes or whatever. But I can remember distinctly, like we got our first text, like, "Hey, dude, last show just did 10,000 listens." And we're like, "Holy, like 10,000? That's a lot." Like, you know what I mean? Like that was like a milestone. And then to see like where it went now, I think when we started this thing, it was more like, this will be fun. Let's see how it goes. And then now it's like, yeah, this is an actual thing. It's been, I think it's probably surpassed our expectations.
It's incredible. This media thing's really, really hard to do. A lot of people think you just sit on the mic for an hour and you chit chat and the clicks come in, the views come in, but there's a lot that goes in on the back end. So
it's a lot of work. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And like,
look at all this stuff going on right now.
Yeah,
There's so
our
many.
TorchPro
yeah,
team,
this ain't a
everyone,
joke. All
like-
this production,
Yeah.
and it's so saturated now. Where there's a ton of people. Like, you guys do it well, right? And hopefully we try to do it well. There's so many guys like just phones and can like they try to like do it but half-ass do it. You know what I mean?
gotta
It's
go
so
all in.
saturated that it's all right. How do you differentiate yourself between you and everybody else? It gets trickier.
high quality and consistency is the key, I think.
Yeah, I would say, like, in the golf world especially too, there's so many people that are trying to do it. And like, Foreplay obviously has theirs and it's awesome. They have their events, and Bob Does Sports is great. They have their matches and stuff like that. Like, we've realized like we're just going to stay in our lane. Our lane is fun interviews, getting to show that these people are just normal humans that like to have a good time.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this on our episode a year ago when we talked at the U.S. Open when it was in Boston, but you also don't really look at those guys as competition, those Foreplay guys and Bob Does Sports. Like, you're just trying to add value in what you're doing and be good at your niche, right?
Yeah, I think there's room for more than just one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I would love to get the numbers that Foreplay does.
Yeah.
They have an incredible following with Barstool and everything, and they do a great job. They're different than us. They get great guests, but I think our style is much different, and I'm very happy with how everything's going.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, of course, it's like golf podcasts or whatever you want to
Right.
put. Like, we're all quote unquote competition. But when I say like, dude, Bobby is a good buddy. Love Bobby and Perez, dude.
Hilarious.
Love those dudes.
We were
to
talking
death.
about
I
that.
respect the shit out of what they. I love what they do personally because like now I feel like theirs is moving more towards YouTube. They'll be here tomorrow, by the way. But like that's what they do is they don't brand themselves as like golf experts, right? They're like we're fun dudes. We like golf and we go have fun with guys. And I think their stuff is awesome. And then foreplay is like a little bit different. Ours is hopefully like some sort of a blend between. We know golf. We've played golf, right? So that's a little different than a lot of the guys that do it. But also, like, these are our boys. We just want to have fun. So it's like a little hybrid, I guess.
I'll give you a funny Fat Perez story. So we're at Harbor Town this year, and a bunch of us are on our friend's boat. And we're all drinking, having a good time. And this girl's sitting there. She's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in the golf world. I do TV for CBS and I have a podcast." She goes, "Are you Fat Perez?" And I go, "God damn!" So I immediately call Perez and I tell him. He goes, "That's a tough scene for you, bro."
Tough scene.
That is tough.
I'm like, "I'm going to the gym right
Oh
now,
my
son of a
God.
bitch. This
Fat-
is not good."
Fat
Dude, he's
Perez,
everywhere.
He was at.
He's a
was he
beast.
at
He's
your
good, too.
Wyndham Clark party after the US?
Yeah.
After he won the US.
Yeah, he
Open?
I
showed
wasn't
up.
there.
He
I
was
was gone.
random.
You
Yeah.
weren't there.
Yeah, we put this little party together for Dub after the win, and I was just kind of texting, close friend, wanted to keep it
Guys.
like without getting huge, right?
Yeah.
And then, but coincidentally, Perez was in town, so he texted me. I was like, "Yo, I can't play golf, but if you want to come by to Wyndham's deal. Like, it'll be fun. You can say hi, meet all the people or whatever." And so, yeah, he swung by. And then the bill ended up. Part of the reason why the bill ended up being fucking enormous.
Coincidentally, I was out of town and tweeted, "Everybody
If
go
you're
to
listening, you owe
everybody
me
go to
a few
his
$1,000s.
You took the bill.
Me and a buddy took it, and it was about, I don't know, 3x more than we thought it would
And he
be.
just took his
Than
fifth
what we
mortgage out of his
budgeted.
house.
I was like, are you
Wyndham
guys-
Clark
you
deserves
guys
that,
joking me?
though.
I need a line item. Who
Yeah, he
drank
should pay
what?
you back after winning the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
When he just made 3.6, and what he made $7 million in like a month.
Yeah.
Dude, you can pay for your own friggin' parties now. He ain't getting any more parties.
He's having a year. So you guys mentioned a little bit. I think another thing that sets you apart is you played golf, right? And so how much has golf really helped you in your career in media? Not in the sense of like you have a knowledge of the game, but almost like the way the game's played, like how it's hard. There's ups and downs. You got to like have this mental level-headed attitude. But like how has playing golf helped you guys be successful in your media careers beyond just the knowledge of the game?
For me, it's like obviously I didn't play as great as I would want, but I still did a ton of interviews throughout my career, and I would always laugh. I could sit down and I'd be like, "If you're gonna ask me 10 questions, I can probably tell you 9 of them."
Yeah.
Like it's just so boring and lame.
Right.
I'm like, dude, mix it up. Show who these guys are. So that's my whole deal. Is like I just want to not catch these guys off guard, but just show a different side of them. I mean, golf just takes you unbelievable places, though. I mean, the relationships we've had, like being here. I mean, Charles Barkley, Joe Pavelski, Mike Modano, like. I mean, never thought you'd meet these guys, but golf brings everyone together because every athlete, every celebrity loves playing this game.
It's a joke. I mean, like you go through. These are all golfers, obviously, because they're at a golf tournament. Like we know a lot of these dudes, and we would know none of them if it wasn't for golf. If we played basketball or whatever, like you wouldn't know any of these guys.
Yep.
Golf is like that common denominator, and I think just like golf's a grind too, right? You got there's no draft. You start at 0 and you get to the PGA Tour. That's the ultimate goal, and like there's a lot of grind, and that same thing with starting a podcast. You start this. Your first show, 0 people know about this thing. 0 people are listening. Like you got to start from nothing and try to grind your way up. And there's no like overnight, just I made it quick on this one deal.
Absolutely.
You just gotta like plug away.
Absolutely. Colt, for you, so you talked a little bit about your CBS job. It's a new gig, last 2 years, right? And so how do you ever want to turn off kind of like, okay, I did a podcast with Sleaze, now I got to go be a little more serious on TV? Do you want to be a different personality, or do you want to keep that kind of, this is Colt Knost, this is my personality, this is who I am on TV?
Noist.
Noisy.
Making it
Did I say it wrong?
Nost.
No.
Close. No, there's no I in it. It's
You ain't
happened
the
before.
first noise though.
No. So that's a good question. I mean, one of the first things, the legendary producer for CBS, Lance Barrow, told me, he's like, I want the same Colt on air that sits at Whisper Rock. And I'm like, well, I'll get fired.
That's
because
a problem.
You can't say that. He's like, you know what I mean. Like, I want you to talk normal, communicate. And one of the things I respect, you brought up Charles Barkley and NBA on TNT. Like, I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but when he talks about it, I understand what he's saying. And that's what I want to do with golf. Is like, I want to make it fun, but I want to be informative, but I want to make sure like the dude that watches golf maybe 3 or 4 times a year understands what the hell I'm talking about. I'm not using these crazy words, dynamic loft or anything like that. Like, I want it to be fun. So, yeah, you have to definitely change gears because the podcast, you can have fun and say a lot more. CBS, I mean, it's a national television, and you got to be a little careful because they're looking for anything just to cancel you at any moment, So that part's tough, but at the same time, I think I'm a different voice in golf right now. And I think that's why it's probably been so successful, is because I'm not just the 7-iron from 175 guy. Like,
Right.
I like to throw some stuff out there.
It's fantastic. It's why I tune in. And so you guys have this phrase, get amongst it, right? And so we checked it in the hotel lobby first time in Tahoe today in the Hard Rock, and this guy was wearing a Get Amongst It shirt. I was like,
Beautiful.
SubPar, let's go. But so like this clip, I think you posted it last week maybe.
Yeah, John Deere.
These
The
two
kids.
kids coming up to
Yeah.
you like, Colt. I don't know what they said, but they were like, let's get amongst it or whatever they may have said. Please define for me what get amongst it means.
Ooh, big question.
Well, first off, that was at the John Deere, and that was out of nowhere. That 2 little 10-year-old kids came up and they're like, "Hey, we're here to get amongst it." I'm like, "Well, this is terrifying. Where are your parents?" And they should probably stop letting you watch these things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Sleaze handle this because this is more of his deal.
This was like a phrase that started, I would say, like around 2010 at Whisper Rock, which is a group of ours, and there's still debate to this day is like who came up with it. I think I know who came up with it, but there are other people that will argue like, no, I was the first one to say that. But anyways, like we threw it around all the time. Like we throw a group text up like, hey boys, tomorrow Friday 12 o'clock, let's get amongst it, like that. All right, hey, Saturday night, yo, we're gonna go meet up for drinks, time to get amongst it or whatever. Like it just kind of became like the little battle cry or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, meeting up with the wife a little later, might get amongst it, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different uses for the term, but it just kind of became like the battle cry or whatever. Like everyone was saying it all the time. We were making fun of people because they would like overuse. I'm like, dude, you're beating it up. Just chill out on the get amongst it and stuff. And then I think finally like it just became like part of your vocabulary, and I like threw it out on a show or whatever, just not even knowing that it was a thing, right? Because we say it so often. And then all of a sudden like Twitter was like, get amongst it, whatever. And I was like, this should be like our little, kind of
it's like your
catchphrase.
identity.
Where, like, yeah, like when people, when you're walking at a golf tournament, you hear people yell it, you're like, oh yeah,
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I hear it minimum 10 times a day when
Yeah.
I'm walking down the fairways with
That's
CBS.
beautiful.
Like,
I
let's
feel
get
like we've
amongst it.
slowed
And I'm
up on
like,
how much we say it too, because we don't want to like beat it to
You wanna
death
make it
either.
cool
You know what I
still.
mean? I
Yeah.
don't want to like just, all right, that's done, put it to bed. So like we actually don't even say it that much on the show anymore, but it's kind of like the thing, like that
Yeah.
associated with our show.
Yeah.
Not to beat it up here, but you guys were in Tahoe, so you're going to get amongst it tonight, in these next few days. So we want to get you on your way. So just a few more questions here. We're going to dive into some rapid fire. You guys
Okay.
both get an answer.
Love that.
But favorite golfer on the tour, open-ended, can be friend, like your favorite to watch, but favorite golfer on the tour.
Oh, shit.
Well, so, sorry, I know it's rapid fire, but is this to hang out with or to like?
I'm gonna
to
let
watch?
you- I'm
That's
gonna-
it. Just favorite golfer.
I'm going to let you pick. You got to pick, and you're going to burn some bridges.
Favorite to follow is Tyrrell Hatton. Absolutely love
Follow
them.
on CB, like when you're
when I'm walking. I mean,
Yeah.
he is. Can I share a funny story about him? I mean, it's a
Absolutely.
rapid fire, but this story is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So we actually, Amanda and I had a set on Saturday at Dallas, and he came and sat with us, and we asked him to call some golf, and he was horrendous, absolutely terrible. But he's so great, and he just beats himself up. The next day, he had a 20-footer for eagle on the 5th hole, and I'm following his group, and he leaves it like 3 feet short and right, ends up tapping the next one in for birdie, and he walks off the green. He comes up to me, and goes, "That first putt was almost as shitty as my fucking commentary yesterday." And I'm like, this guy is just the best.
That's
I
great.
love him. So I always enjoy following him. He's great. And, I mean, Rory talks shit to me going up and down every fairway, so I love following him.
That's amazing. Drew?
Tyrrell's special. To avoid any conflict of with anybody, like it'd be easy to say Wyndham or whatever,
Yeah,
or John
yeah.
or whatever. I'm gonna go off the grid a little bit. I don't even know if he's currently holding a tour card, but he's playing this week, so it counts. I'm gonna go Kiradek, Alpha Barn Rat,
Oh.
the Thailand.
The
He's from
Rat.
Thailand. He's the Rat. He's the best dude in the world because I think he lives his life genuinely how every dude actually wants to live their life. Like, no bullshit. Let's say he wins this week, makes $1 million, whatever, just round numbers, okay? The next week or in the next 10 days, he will spend that $1 million. And
Taxes
then he'll be
don't
like, okay,
matter.
now I need to go win another golf tournament. I go to make some more money. He literally, I don't know that he has a checking account. Like, cause this whole shit, like he bought Ferrari, his first like ever check that he made in golf. He won a golf tournament. Was it 35,000? It was not a lot of money, right? Relatively
it was a
speaking.
Mercedes.
compared.
Right.
Yeah.
And he went and bought he bought like a Porsche or some shit and like put it on like, I can afford the down payment. Cool, I'm gonna go get it. Now he's like, I don't know how to pay the monthlies, so I better go win some more shit. And he buys watches and shoes, all the shit that guys like. Cars, watches, shoes. Pretty much sums it up, right?
This is not rapid fire.
All he does is just buy.
That's fine.
No, it's a descriptor.
It's meant to
Kiradek
spark
was
some
rapid. That was
conversation.
quick off the top.
No, it's meant
he's
to
a
spark
beast.
conversation. Hey, well, it probably put some pressure on him. He's like, damn, now I have no money. I have to go in. Maybe
Exactly.
that's why he's
I
doing
don't like living
He
that
said
way.
he
That's
likes
terrifying.
that. He's like, it puts my back
I gotta
against
go
the
win
wall.
now.
Yeah.
It's different.
Favorite golf swing on tour?
Rory.
Rory. It's easy.
I would say Harris English.
Okay.
That's a good.
Love
one,
that
too.
golf swing since college. It's so,
There's so many good ones
it's
nowadays.
So nasty.
Who is an up-and-comer on tour that we should look out for that might be a superstar one day? Hasn't won a major
We're going to
yet.
say the same thing. Hasn't won a major. Well, we're say turned pro 6 weeks ago. Ludwig Aberg is just an absolute stud. He's got it all. And, I mean, he's a good-looking kid, beautiful golf swing, got tons of game. He's going to be a superstar.
Superstar. He'll be on the Ryder. He's already got a bet on it.
He
but
will?
I think he'll be on the European Ryder.
I got
Cup
5-1 odds.
I'd
a few weeks
take
ago on him
if
being
I
on
had to
the
go a
Ryder Cup.
different route. That's the answer. But I'd go with my new guy who also might be my next answer
Oh,
after
yeah.
Kiradech, Minwoo Lee.
Minwoo
Just
Lee.
keep your eye out. Sickest golf swing.
I see him on the leaderboard quite
Si-
often.
and he's a dude also. Like if once he starts winning and gets more mics in his face, like he'll be one of those dudes people gravitate towards because he can
Yeah.
rap. Like he's cool.
Cool. Favorite tournament to cover on the tour or major?
Phoenix. Well, I mean, Masters, but Phoenix is just
Yeah, the atmosphere is just
it's
untouchable.
unbelievable. I mean, walking down the fairways there, it's insane. And then, like, Amanda and I started doing that set 2 years ago on Saturday, and Sam Ryder making the hole-in-one.
on 16.
Yeah, it's insane. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to. I
Phoenix.
don't want to echo it, but it's got to be
And
hometown
it's
event.
hometown for
being
you guys.
involved in
Yeah.
it, like all that. That's it.
That's beautiful. If you could pick any sport to be pro in that wasn't golf, what sport would you play?
Oh shit.
Well, right now, NBA, because those guys, I don't even know who you are, and you make $100 million.
Making cash.
God damn,
Yeah,
they
it's a
make
hell of
so
a
much
deal.
money. And,
Yeah.
I don't know, probably baseball, though. I want to be a relief pitcher in baseball.
Still make money.
Yeah, not work that often.
Still
Yeah,
make money.
hang out in the dugout for about 3 hours. Like, oh, time to close.
Yeah.
Here I come in.
You
You
don't
have
get
a
hit?
cool ass song when you come in.
Yeah, walkout
Inner
song.
Sandman. Boom. K. A
Yeah.
couple people walk out of there, make about 50
After
million.
hanging out with these football and hockey guys, I want no part of that. I mean,
Oh.
their brains are mush.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got some friends with potato brains.
Yes,
I don't want to get hit.
Same.
Pickleball will be mine. I'm
That's
turn
good
pro in
one, up and
pickleball.
coming. What is one golfer on tour that should have a podcast?
Kevin Kisner.
Yeah, but don't do it, Kev. You know, just
It-
keep playing.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing. He's a good one. I think Joel Damon would be spectacular. For
He
Joel would
exploded
probably
after
be
the
really
Netflix
good. He's
doc,
the guy
yeah.
you interview him. He talks to you like he talks to you if the mic's not on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just authentic guys. And he's funny.
Not to go down another tangent. Smiley Kaufman's new show. Pretty solid. Have you guys tuned into that?
We love Smiles. We work with Smiles.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see the clips on the
Yeah.
internet and all that type of stuff, but yeah, shout out to Smiles. He's a good bud, and he's hustling too.
Yeah, I haven't
Working his
listened.
way
I've seen
into
the
same
clips.
thing.
Yeah, I've seen the clips and stuff here and there, but I haven't listened to it. I mean, we talk so much golf. Last thing I want to do is go listen to
No,
another golf
exactly,
podcast.
yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
100%.
Yeah, but love Smiles.
Last rapid fire for you guys. What's your drink at the turn?
Oh, tranny,
Transfusion.
I knew that from you.
Yeah.
double tranny.
Transfusion.
Tranny too?
Transfusion. I've been going Tito's and sugar-free Gatorade. Watch the body a little bit.
That's a good one too. And you've
Yeah.
been a tequila guy though, like your whole life.
Not on the golf course. Tequila's after golf.
Post game tequila for him.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a drink other than transfusion on a golf course. Maybe vodka Gatorade when they don't have it.
Tequila
Or if they
on
just
the-
have that mix, which is
Can't beat a tranny.
Tequila on the golf course normally turns into about a 44 on the back nine. It's not good.
nothing
Hey,
wrong with that.
That's what I shoot.
Yeah, what are you saying?
All right. So, well, thank you for the time. One last question to wrap it up. Sleeves, we've done this with you before. So, Colt, you can answer and feel free to chime in, Drew. But if there's one lesson that you've learned throughout your whole career in golf and media that you could pass along to the next generation to help them accomplish their dreams in everyday life, maybe it's not media, maybe it's not golf, what would that one lesson be?
Man, be yourself and bust your ass. Like, honestly, like, I think so many people in today's world are so scared to be different. You know, everybody's like, oh, I want to be safe. Safe doesn't do it. I mean, you brought up Pat McAfee earlier. Like, he was different, and look how that's going for him. And he was himself. I mean, that's how he is.
Yep. 100%. Well,
Ask him the one that we asked. I think you asked me this at the end of
This
ours.
isn't your show.
No, no, we're gonna.
Please.
I want to get it too. Well, then I'll ask it. Then you can be one guy for one day, like we asked.
oh,
You
yeah.
trade lives for one
I
day.
did
You
ask
asked me that. I think I said.
I did. I
I
didn't
said
wanna repeat.
Jay-Z or Ricky Gervais. I think were mine.
Yeah, I
Or maybe
didn't wanna
Jamie
repeat.
Foxx. One of the two. Who you
Just
got?
to go non-golf, I would Garth Brooks.
You'd be Garth Brooks.
Yep, sold out LSU, Death Valley.
That's got to be
God,
special.
Just
Yeah.
rock a stadium.
That'd be
the
special.
sickest.
I'm into that. I mean,
Everyone
I'm a golf nerd,
freaks
so
out.
Tiger 2000's easy, but, man, Garth Brooks. I mean, Morgan Wallen as of late. God, those guys, that's so cool.
Neither are bad.
I appreciate your guys' time. I'm excited to get this podcast coming out in a few weeks. So it'll be after this, but I'm excited to hang out at the long drive tomorrow. See you guys do your thing. That'll be special. Excited to tune in the podcast. Continue to do that. And thanks for joining, guys. Have an epic weekend here in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, thanks for having us. That was
me,
awesome.
man. Appreciate
Of
you.
course. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoyed the content. There's plenty more Pass the Torch episodes, along with other podcasts we got going on and video series we do. So subscribe, and we'll see you later.